Welcome back to the third and the last part of this mini video series on how to heal trauma. The last part of the journey and of the key phases is the ingestion really of some inspiration into the voyage and helping people to find more hope, more faith, and more fuel to keep them going on the journey, which when recovering from trauma can often feel a bit hard and heavy going at times, to be honest with you. Many people with trauma and what they've been through also can often feel like it's an almost archetypal type of story of light battling dark, of the angel and the devil, or the good and the bad, because the hero's journey is always one of going into some form of pain and coming out changed by the experience in some way and bringing back the treasure after what has felt like, honestly, sometimes an extremely difficult crossing. And with trauma and mental health issues, there are undoubtedly individual challenges too, very distinct and very unique mountains that we all have to climb, and stormy seas even that we need to cross to face those obstacles. We absolutely have to have this element of inspiration, encouraging us to take step by step, courageous, consistent action towards something brighter, be it a vision or a dream or a calling perhaps, or a strong outcome at least, armed with the fortitude, the faith, the persistence and the patience that we need so we don't tumble by the wayside or falter or fall down and not endure. Hence, a guiding light or a North Star is so helpful and appropriate if we can help someone to find that and to become inspired by it, an image maybe of them once they've slayed the dragon, and a strong sense of how they might feel on the other side of that. I consider myself to be entirely fortunate, really, on my own healing journey in what could have been one of the biggest curses, if you like, for me in my own life, actually became one of my greatest, if not the greatest, salvation. The fuel that kept the home fires burning for at least the last 25 years was something that happened to me when I was much younger, and yet it feels etched into every corner of my mind or almost ingested into every cell of my being. I was 24 and lying in an old stained porcelain bath, and I could see the dirt underneath my fingernails as I scrubbed and scrubbed at the skin and on my body, trying to eradicate these internal feelings of shame or disgust. A voice told me that no amount of scrubbing or soap would ever take away the badness. It's in me, it was me. I was bad, disgusting, and just downright horrible. Memories started slotting back into the top of my head, like on an old cine film, and they were such bright colours, it was too vivid almost for my eyes. It felt painful. I put my hands over my eyes to block out some of the light as the not so very nice memories wanted to slot back into my head. But I didn't want them back in, but they came in anyway. Click, 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 one by one, just entering into the top of my head. I remember my body felt heavy again. I felt the despair returning. Why? Why? I asked myself. Only 24 hours earlier, I'd been putting the buzz back into Britain. I'd been on the front of tabloid papers. It must be a mistake. Yesterday, I was on stage between two of my greatest heroes, even Oprah Winfrey and the Dalai Lama. Like, what on earth had happened since then? The wake up to harsh reality occurred at the hands of a relative who arrived in southwest London in obvious distress, and after smelling alcohol on my breath and seeing me in a really disheveled state, picked up the phone, dialed 999, and minutes later I heard the roar of a siren outside, and I couldn't understand it, because the truth was, in that moment, I'd never felt better in my life. We arrived in front of this huge red brick old school Victorian asylum, and I laughed when I saw the sign, psychiatric hospital. What felt like minutes later, I'm being forcefully medicated whilst my mother cries as a doctor in a white coat tells her, "Your daughter's had a psychotic break." Within the hour, of course, the psychiatric drugs started to kick in and had ruined probably the most profound moment of my life, where for once I'd felt freedom and joy like never before. But I was soon to discover my visions were all just an illusion. The delusions of a psychotic girl who wanted to be someone, but sadly really wasn't. She was just a young woman with a belly full of trauma who had also developed a substance use problem to boot. But it had given me a gift of being able to feel how amazing it was to be free of all of those limiting beliefs, all of that self-hatred and disgust from traumatic experiences, firstly as a child and then as a teenager, that I tried to lock away for years. But only on receiving the information about what trauma was and the grand realization some 20 odd years later, did I really recognize it was actually trauma that was sat underneath my psychotic break and all of my mental health and addiction difficulties. It dawned on me that what is perceived by some about those of us with addiction or mental health issues is so untrue. I don't feel my psychosis or addiction was a weakness or a moral failing or a character defect or even a brain disorder. I was just like millions of other people out there, trying to numb things out or disconnect from an earlier life that I didn't want to remember, and beliefs that I had about myself that I couldn't bear to face. And no wonder I wanted to dissociate from my body. And I've managed to do that for a while. But of course, none of us can do that forever. But for me, my mental breakdown was my mental breakthrough. And the psychosis was the beginning of the breakthrough that I needed to start doing the trauma work and get the awareness and the right information necessary to expand my mind, and then thankfully come into the body and do the integration piece by befriending my body and also all of my younger parts. I was lucky because I'd had the inspiration piece, the third part of the trauma recovery journey for me. And I urge you to not leave out this crucial stage, either with yourself or with your clients, because we have to have a dream. We need the inspiration. We need the why, the cause, the fuel to add into the mix. Because quite frankly, without hope, without faith and dreams, and even a higher power or a soul's yearning, none of the other work feels as possible without something calling us on in the distance. My Oprah Winfrey and Dalai Lama moment, although in effect absolutely insane, became a symbol of sanity to me. It became a hugely inspirational moment for me that helped me get through my trauma healing bit by bit by bit. I could never be doing what I am now if I hadn't had that mad vision to feel what it felt like without trauma and limiting beliefs holding me back just for a moment and keeping me so small. So I'm asking you today, what's your calling? What's your vision, not only for you, but for your clients? And how do we ignite the inspiration you and they need to get you where you're going? And how can I help to get you there too? I'd love to be able to help, because I know that if I can be where I am now, oh my goodness, so can you and your clients without a doubt too. I know people can get to their end dreams, and so can you, and so can they, if you and they keep on this journey and continue to do the work. And of course, the obstacles are always the traumas, the constriction, the not enough beliefs that we develop within our systems. And slowly and surely, as you start to unpack and release those blocks with the right processes, things start to come into your life that you want far much more. For me, it was a full client list. It was being invited to speak at conferences. It was also being able to charge more for my hourly rate. There were other opportunities to collaborate coming my way, and being able to write an online program and afford help with marketing and social media that I'd never been able to do before. Moving to a house in the countryside where I felt I had freedom and peace and space for my dog Alfie to run around. And all of that and this comes, I believe, from continuing to do our own work, which in turn helps our clients to do theirs. And joining the Voyage program is about helping others with trauma. Of course, it's about clearing away the remaining blocks within your system as well. So why not come and join me alongside Melanie Curtis, who is my brilliant co-facilitator. And we've got a wonderful community too, and other possibilities to expand your work. Expand your work because for me, the end goal is that one day, with enough practitioners trained in the Voyage, we really, really want to get this program out to the general public and help those with no access to funding to finally have an affordable and an accessible trauma healing program. With your help, the possibility becomes even more tangible. If you help and join in on the mission too, it makes the mission more possible. So if you feel called by this mini video series why not click the link below for more details on the Voyage and a breakdown about what the program teaches. And I really, really hope to see you there. And if you wouldn't mind at all sharing this video, it would really help enormously by hopefully getting closer to the mission of affordable and accessible mental health treatment for all. Many thanks, and hope to see you soon, hopefully. Take care for now.